Okay, so, walking out of church this morning.
Wow. Yeah. Pastor Florin's message today, the one on first love, it definitely stuck with me.
Me too. From that Genesis series, stories of redemption, love, and the unexpected. Genesis 2, right? Verses 18 to 25.
hmm It just felt like more than just hearing the story again, like he was really peeling back the layers.
Totally. So that's kind of what we want to do in this deep dive, right? Go a bit further than the Sunday morning takeaway.
Yeah, figure out what it actually means for us,
Yeah.
like practically,
Uh-huh.
especially for, younger people trying to navigate, well, everything.
Exactly. And he kept mentioning that idea of apprenticing under Jesus. Like how this story isn't just history, it's actual guidance for how to live, how to love.
And the way he started was fascinating, pointing out that Genesis, when it was written, wasn't just some nice story. It was, what did he call it? A polemic.
Yeah, polemic. Sounds kind of confrontational.
Well, it sort of was. It means like a strong argument, or maybe setting the record straight
Setting the record straight against what, though?
against all those like chaotic and kind of violent creation stories floating around back then in other cultures. You gotta picture the Israelites, right?
Mhm.
They're becoming a nation asking big questions.
Like, who are we and where did we come from?
Exactly. And Genesis was the answer. It showed God as orderly, intentional, personal, completely different from the, moody gods of chaos other people believed in.
Okay, that context alone is huge. It changes how you read it.
Right. And then he dove into those three things about creation that show God's character.
Yeah, the distinctives. First one was purposeful, that God has a plan. He's intentional, not random.
hmm Everything designed, the heavens, earth, plants, us, deliberate.
And that hits different today, doesn't it? When you feel kind of small or lost, like, what's my purpose?
Totally. Especially with social media always making you compare. But this says, no, you were designed. Intentionally. That's huge.
You're not an accident. And he linked that to God being sovereign, having ultimate authority, which honestly can feel a bit controlling sometimes.
I get that. But I think he framed it more like God's ultimate good intention, trustworthiness.
Hmm.
Not like a micromanager, but like a wise, loving creator who knows best. It kind of sets the stakes.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Then the second one, plentiful.
Right, Adam's in this garden, lush, everything provided, abundance.
And that's not just about Eden back then. Pastor Florin said it shows God provides even when we feel like we're lacking, even in our struggles.
Yeah, and think about our culture now. It's all about scarcity, right? Never enough money, followers, whatever. We're always comparing.
Mm-hmm.
But Genesis shows God as, like, lavish. He provides before we even do anything. That should change how we see things, how we relate to people. Less fear, less competition.
So for you listening, what does that tell you about God? About how involved he is? For me, it's like, okay, pause, see the abundance that's already here.
Good point.
And then the third one, which I love, personal. God wasn't distant, he was right there.
Hands-on. Walking in the garden, giving specific instructions. Adam didn't have to guess.
He knew Adam, he knows us, sees us.
And that personal involvement, that's the foundation. He's not some detached force. He's invested. And that shapes how he designed the first relationship, the first family.
Which leads right into the next part of the sermon, how God designed the first family. Pastor Florin just said it plain, God invented the family.
And he talked about Adam naming the animals, that whole process.
Yeah, and realizing like, hang on, none of these are quite right for me. Finding no suitable helper.
Right. God didn't just zap Eve into existence. He let Adam feel the need first, that recognition.
And then the creation of Eve, the deep sleep.
Yeah, Pastor Florin made a point about that it wasn't pain, it was profound rest. Vulnerability, maybe?
Yeah, that's interesting, especially compared to other myths where creation involves like fighting or something.
Exactly. God's way was peaceful, purposeful, and then the rib. But the point wasn't the bone itself, right?
No, it was that they were made of the same stuff.
Totally equal. Which, back then, that was revolutionary. Women weren't seen that way. God was setting the record straight again. Same level. A suitable helper, not a lesser being.
And Adam's reaction, that song in verse 23, Pastor Florin called it Adam's hubba hubba oolah moment.
Yeah. That bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. It's pure joy, recognition. Like, wow,
You get it. A perfect match.
That's the heart of the design. Delight, connection. And it leads to those three aspects of relationship he outlined.
Okay, first, a powerful bond. A man leaves his parents, unites with his wife. A new primary loyalty.
Stronger than any other family tie. That's significant.
Second, unity. Two become one flesh.
And not just physically, right? He was clear on that. It's common purpose, mutual support, emotional, spiritual, the whole deal. One unit.
Yeah, holistic. And third, which I think is just beautiful, innocence and transparency.
Naked and felt no shame.
Total openness. No hiding, no pretense. Imagine that kind of trust. That's the harmony God set up.
It sounds amazing, doesn't it? Like the blueprint.
So, if the original design was so good, so harmonious, why does everything often feel so, well, off now? Especially in relationships.
Yes. The dissonance.
Yeah.
That's where Pastor Florence shifted gears, right?
Yeah.
Asking why things feel so out of sync for us today.
Yeah, what does this ancient harmony mean when our world, our relationships, feel so misaligned? He gave two main reasons for it. First was rejecting God's sovereignty.
Mm-hmm. That's when we start demanding why God, or acting like nobody sees us. We ditch his authority.
And the result, we lose any real sense of right and wrong. Yeah, moral absolutes just kind of dissolve.
Exactly. And you see that impacting young people so directly. If there's no fixed compass, figuring out your identity is incredibly confusing.
Totally. Constant comparison, anxiety, feeling like you're never enough.
Right. Because if truth is just relative, who are you? How do you act? How do you treat others? It feeds that tendency he mentioned, calling good evil and evil good.
Wow, yeah, that really connects. And the second reason for the dissonance, operating on different levels.
Treating people as unequal, like first class versus second class citizens.
And think how that plays out today. Toxic friendships. Check.
Uh-huh. Dating relationships with messed up power dynamics, where someone's treated like an object.
Yeah. Or online bullying, cancel culture.
Yeah.
Just devaluing people.
It's judging based on superficial stuff, money, job, looks, whatever.
Yeah.
Control and manipulation. It's a huge struggle for young people, trying to value yourself and value others equally when everything pushes you toward these hierarchies.
It's exhausting. Without that Genesis foundation of equality, it's so easy to slip into those patterns.
It really is.
So, okay, that's the problem, the dissonance. But what's the solution? How do we get back to that harmony?
This is where he brought it all together with Jesus, that new command from John 13.
Love one another, as I have loved you.
So you must love one another.
Yeah.
And Pastor Florence said it's not just another rule, it's a liberating path.
But how is it liberating? How does it fix the dissonance?
Well, this ties right back to that idea of apprenticing under Jesus.
Yeah.
Think about it. What does an apprentice do?
They watch the master, practice what they do, learn by doing.
Exactly. They don't just read a manual, they get their hands dirty. So following Jesus isn't just about agreeing with ideas or knowing facts about him.
It's about actually practicing his way of life.
Spot on. Practicing loving the way he loved. That's the essential part. That's how we counter the dissonance. It means actively choosing to trust God's sovereignty, his good plan.
And then actively learning to love others like Jesus did, equally, transparently, supportively.
Yes. It's taking that original Genesis design, the powerful bond, the unity, the transparency, and intentionally practicing it in our real messy lives.
So it's like relationship training, like practicing scales on an instrument, but for love.
That's a great way to put it, is how knowledge becomes transformation. And that's the practical application for everyone, especially young people trying to figure out friendships, dating, family, online stuff, all of it.
It really brings it home. Finding God's harmony isn't passive. It's submitting to him and then actively, practically loving people his way.
It's the path back to that beautiful design.
Okay, so much to think about there.
Definitely. Maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Consider what it truly means to practice this love this week. Like in your actual interactions.
Yeah.
How can you shift from just, knowing Jesus said love one another to actively choosing it, choosing to value people, be open, seek unity, especially when it's hard, or when culture or social media tells you something different.
Ooh, that's good. That's where the apprenticeship really happens, isn't it? In those small daily choices.
That's it.
Well, that's a fantastic thought to chew on. And hey, if this deep dive conversation was helpful for you, maybe share it with a friend, someone else who might get something out of it.
Yeah, good idea.
Also, just wanted to let you know you can submit prayer requests on our website. It's agapechurch.life. We actually have a team that will pray specifically for you.
That's great.
And of course, check out the Agape Community Church YouTube channel and the website for more sermons from Pastor Florin and other resources too.
Lots of good stuff there.
For sure. All right. Well, until next time, keep diving deep into what matters.
And keep practicing the way of love.